Hey, how you doing there again, folks? Me again, of course, Brandon Wenzel. Come back at you, another offering off my sampler platter. Yes, indeed, folks, I'm playing for series of videos I've been doing for a little while now. I go over there, try out food and drink items. I eat stuff, I drink stuff. Then, folks, I'm going to talk about stuff. I'm going to let you know all that you need to know about hopefully delicious stuff. That time I'm doing this, folks, I'm not going to lie. If you didn't watch my last review where I went over there and I reviewed the real Tico iced tea, then I'm not going to go into explaining why I've got a little shiner under my eye. But it was a silly, ridiculous story that no adult human being, or really any human being, should ever have to endure. But I'm me, so there we go. Anyway, folks, it's a super simple format. I'm going to go over there and I'm going to try out food and or drink items for you. Whilst I'm doing so, I'm going to yam around about it for a bit. Whilst I'm doing all that, I'm inside the truck. And whilst I'm doing all that, folks, I am wearing grody work clothes. Typically, when I'm inside the truck and I'm wearing grody work clothes, that means that I was on my way home from work and I found some shit to review for you. That is absolutely the case today. I went over there. I mentioned in the previous review, I did get some tea stuff. I went out to Target. Normally I go to Walmart, but I decided to go to Target in this instance because they were close to a pet store and I needed pet supplies. However, I forgot that the pet store was not open until like 9 o'clock. And I was like, crap. So I ended up going over there and driving to the Walmart anyway, because I was like, oh, fuck it, I'll just go to the damn Walmart. There's some things there that I want to get. And while I was perusing around, I happened to find a thing, and I was like, ooh, that looks like a thing. So, what's the thing that I found? What am I reviewing for you today? What are we doing? It's this thing! Boom! Yes, it is from La Molienda. That's what I'm going with. It is Lamolienda. La Molienda. Or Molienda? Something like that. Tradición y calidad. It is a guava roll candy. Okie doke. Let's get it. Can we get a thing for the thing? Maybe? Ha 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 ha! Sure, it looks like that. Yeah. Okay. No idea. No idea whatsoever. Where are you from? I'm guessing Mexico, but maybe some other place, like maybe somewhere in South America. Yeah, no, that doesn't really help me. Okay, whatever. Let's try a thing, because, yes, guava. I like guava. I don't know if I'll like it in this format, but I don't know that I won't. So granulated. Oh, wow, that smells weird. It's so dense. I have so many emotions. Yeah, okay. I don't know how much I like this. I don't think I hate it or anything, but this is one of those things. It kind of comes off like an old-timey sort of candy. I don't know if it is or not. But that's kind of what it reminds me of. Where it's one of those things where it's like it hasn't had... You know, it came up in the time where half your candy was also supposed to potentially fight polio or some shit. That's what this kind of reminds me of like something like that. Because it's like, it kind of works, but it also kind of doesn't. And I feel like if you took this prospect, you know, I think if you went over there and you put it in a more factory type setting, you know, and worked out the things and focus groups and stuff, I think you would have something that would be really nice. As is, it's a very weird mix. Like, for one thing, the texture of it is just a little bit bizarre. It reminds me of something, but I cannot think of what. But the thing that I ultimately landed on, because it's like kind of squishy, but also kind of firm, like biting into it takes a little doing. Once you start chewing it, it kind of, starts to break down, obviously. But it's still, like, it's got a little chewiness to it. That on top of the granulated sugar, which I have to admit, I'm not big on, like, just granulated sugar just on things, like powdered sugar, something like that, it's a little bit easier to go with. But with the granulated sugar on it and that sort of texture, it kind of feels like I'm eating really wet sand. Like, I feel like if I went over there and chewed this up, took it out, I could go over there and, like, make a little sandcastle out of it. I'm not going to do that, but as for the flavor, there is a guava flavor, and that is definitely the nicest aspect of it. It's not... Guava's a weird fruit because, like, I think, I'm not sure if it's an outright tropical fruit. I always kind of consider it that. But it doesn't have, like, the same punchiness as, like, mango or pineapple, something like that. It's a little bit more subdued, but it can be very nice. In this, again, it's definitely the best part, but, like, I don't know, I wish there was a little bit more to it, I guess. And there's just this weirdness when you first bite into it. I don't know what that... The worst part of it is when you first bite into it. It has this, like, weird flavor that, like, I don't know. It's, like, almost bitter, almost sour, but it fades quickly. And then it has a little bit of a bite to it. And then kind of behind the bite is the sort of the guava flavor. Yeah, I don't know about this one. Yeah. The initial taste is just weird, and I don't like it. Yeah, I don't know about this one. I'm not big on the texture. I'm not big on the granulated sugar. The guava flavor is okay, but it's not enough of a redeeming factor to really make up for the things that I don't like about it. Two questions have to be asked. Would I get it again? Would I recommend it? I'm going to go with no, and I'm going to go with probably not. For me personally, I don't think I like this very much. I don't actively hate it or anything, but it's not something that I need to partake in again. I was intrigued because it's like, you don't usually think of guava and sort of like a candy, kind of thing. And maybe this is why. Maybe it doesn't work that well. But really, again, that was the best part of it. Every other aspect of it, again, it was kind of weird, and, like, I just didn't really like the way, the mouth feel. I just couldn't get along with it. And the guava flavor, when it would kick in, it would make it a little bit more kind of tolerable. But, yeah, it didn't, As for recommending it, here's my caveat to this. Because, like I said, it feels like sort of an old-timey candy type of thing. I fully get that this is probably one of those things where, like, it's probably a cultural thing on my end, this is probably a thing that's, like, a thing wherever it comes from. Again, maybe Mexico? And it, may very well be enjoyed and beloved by a lot of people. So, in that regard, I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes or anything like that. It's just, for me, it's just not quite a go. So, if I'm recommending it, that's why I put kind of, because it's like, I could see people liking this, but for one thing, I feel like you definitely need to be a little bit adventurous to kind of go with it if you're unfamiliar. And I can't compare it to any other of its type. This is the only one I've had, so I can't say if this is a particularly good example or not. But, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to tell anybody not to try it, because I don't think it's awful or anything. It's just, it's bizarre, but I could see some people liking it. it's hard for me to go over there and give it, like, a full endorsement, because it's like, imagine that a lot of people wouldn't be into it. But, like I said, that might just be a cultural thing on my end. So, anyway, 5 things before I get out of here. Have yourself a great rest of your day, spectacular rest of your week, monumental rest of your month, stupendous rest of your year. Folks, go over there, have yourselves a truly guava-tastic rest of your life. Not as good as pineapple-tastic, but, it's pretty good. Guava's good. I'll drink a guava soda. I'll do it right. I mean, not right now. I don't have any right now, but I do have a bunch of weird sodas in my fridge that I need to get around to drinking. It'll happen. Final 2 things. Number 1, try to bring some positivity in the world. It's not always possible. It is, however, always appreciated. But what you do if you can't do all the time, I know I can't do all the time. Here's what you're going to do, folks. You're going to try not to be an asshole. Folks, not always the easiest thing in the world to not be an asshole. Trust me. I know it. I live it. I'm out there every day with you in it. Life can be stressful and frustrating and just bullshit. And, it can just absolutely tear you down some days. And when you find yourself in those situations, sometimes you want to just rise up and just let your inner asshole out. Take a step back. Try to mitigate the level of assholishness in our lives. Hopefully do better for ourselves and for those around us. Very final thing, folks, do the thing. Whatever the thing is for you, that's what I want you to go out and do. Folks, maybe you're going to go over there. Maybe you're from the culture that this is from, and maybe you're extremely familiar with it. And maybe you hit me up in the comments and be like, Brandon, this particular treat actually has a long and vaunted history and blah, 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 and, this, that, and the other thing. And I'll be like, oh, that's really cool. Like, I actually love history and stuff like that. So, if it's a thing, that's extra neat. It won't make me like it anymore from a taste perspective, but, appreciation-wise. So, because remember, folks, at the end of the day, even if I don't particularly like something that you're fond of, hey, man, that's just your jam. I went over there recently. I was part of a tasting for one of my best friends. He's going to be getting married. I'm the best man. Yeah. And so they were doing a tasting for the food. They went over there. We did a little taste of the appetizers. The one that I wouldn't have chosen was the one that everyone else went for. So what the fuck do I know? But hey, bye.